Yeah, okay. So today's problem would be given a string, find the length of the smallest window that contains every distinct character. Okay, find the length of the smallest window that contains every distinct character given a string. Okay, characters may appear more than once in that window. Oh, okay. So we can have a window which contains every distinct character, and inside which window we can have even duplicates. Okay, so for the given example, jujitsu, okay, you should return 5 corresponding to the final 5 letters. Why is it 5? U, J, S, U, S, T, I, J. Okay, this contains the entire, all the distinct characters in this word, and it's the smallest such window that you could prepare. Okay, um, okay, this seems feasible. Let's try to analyze how that would be. So let's say we have the word jujitsu, right? So we have a pen. So this is J I U J I U J I T S U. Okay, J I T S U. Okay, this is our source word, whatever we have been given. So our requirement here would be something like find out the window. We are supposed to find, let's say we mark the red one, right? This is the window that they have told, which is the solution. But how do we reach up over here, right? So step one to traverse this is the question states that we would need the smallest window that contains every distinct character. Every distinct character. Okay. So first count up, right? Find the count of every distinct character. Distinct, distinct character. This would be our first requirement, because this way we know whether we have so we do a single pass the entire thing and get to know that for example, in this the distinct character count would be 5, because it contains J, I, T, S and U, which also contains the remaining J, I, U. So that way the distinct character count would be 5. And the second thing is we need to find the smallest such window, right? In this example, all of them have occurred clumped together, but maybe if the word was jumbled up, even the window could contain repeated characters. So how we would go about solving the window part is first jiujitsu. So jiujitsu, right? So let's say we have the word as jujitsu. Step one is we would iterate through the word, right? We would go along the word till we find the a window of size 5, which means we would create a window. Let's now color the window with gray. Yeah. So let's say we have a window with 5, and as we iterate through the character string, we would populate it. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Let's now populate it with J, I, U, J, and I. Okay, so we have it. Then we get to know that this window does not contain 5 unique ones. This window, and we would have a counter, right? Like to keep track of what are the number of occurrences of the words inside our window. So J has appeared 2 times. Let's denote it like this. And I has appeared 2 times. And U has appeared 1 time. So we get to know that, okay, this is not very optimal. We have not had 5 unique characters inside my set. So I need to remove this, right? Let's say I'm going to remove this and move my window to 1 step towards the right, so that probably we might get a better result, because it doesn't satisfy the condition of 5 distinct characters are not there. So then what we do is we will go to the next step. We would add the window one more step and add JIU, JUI, I guess, right? Or JIU, JIT, right? I'm going to add T. Then I'm going to increment T would be occurring once in my string, and J has been removed once, so it occurs only once. Now the total number of distinct characters in my window, as far as this is concerned, this is my new window over here, right? So in this window, it is occurring. I have only 1, 2, 3, 4 distinct characters, but my requirement is I need to have 5. So then what we would do is, okay, we will go one more step ahead. Like we will go to the next window. So now I will get to know that I has occurred 2 times. So let me remove I once, which means that I'm going to remove the starting and increment the window once again. So I'm going to increment the window by 1. So where JTS, I'm going to add S to the window. Then I will add S, right? 1. So I have UJITS, UIJTS. What do we have? We have 5 distinct characters. They've all appeared only once, which matches with the 5. So what do you say? This would actually satisfy the solution. But what is our solution? You should return 5. Okay, I should return 5, right? Whether that 5, my requirement is to return the length of the window. So this satisfied it, I can return it. But in the solution, they have got the final 5 letters. So for now, I'm going to ignore the final 5 letter part. Basically, they would say that we have to go till the end of the string and then consider it, right? But in our case, we have hit this solution, so we can return 5 because this would be the optimal solution. It doesn't matter whether it's then this 5 or the next one, because if we were to say I'm going to increase the window next, right, to the next one, then I would make U to 0 and then increment the window, go to U, and then again increment U to 1. So that way I would have the final 5 character window by eliminating the first 3 characters. But that does not matter because the window size doesn't change and it is still 5. So we'll go with the one which we have first received itself. Like when the distinct character count, that is 5, matches with our window size and the number of distinct characters in our window, we have hit the point of best return. So we can return that. Okay, so this would be the logic that we can probably use in order to build the program. So let's go over, copy the question. Let's copy the question, go back to the problem. Let's save the problem, right? Get our problem would be get smallest substring distinct window. No, this is distinct smallest distinct window. Substring, we'll call it a substring. Makes sense. String. Okay, so this would be our source string. Source string. Call it source. So it's fine, right? And we would return substring, right? And substring would be an empty string for now, right? Can it make sense? We close this. Okay, what are the constraints of this substring? Constraints are constraints on substring. Actually, if we go back to the question, it should return 5. Actually, we should just return length of the substring. We'll use length of the substring, right? Perfect. And we could print the substring once we have it. Smallest distinct substring. The smallest window is substring. Perfect. Okay, we would we'll address how to calculate this right away. But what are the constraints on calculating the substring are must contain all distinct characters from the source, must be smallest such window, and it must be it can contain duplicates, right? Okay, these are the constraints that we have on the substring. Since we don't have to, yeah, okay, this makes sense. So now let's get started with the calculation. Step one was in our analysis. How we came up here was, first was we calculated the count of the substrings, right? So let's go with that approach only. So we first calculate the count, then we create a window and move ahead, and then we have a counter for each one of those characters. So that would be the way we go. We can, okay, first step is let's create a map, right? Let's call it as character char- character data character character count map, right? The name we can change it in a bit. So basically this would in my mind contain like all the occurrences, like we have j0 i1 u1, right? Like this would be the character and what is its count in our window as of now. So to have that, first initially they should all be equal to 0. So we'll say str I dot lower, right? We'll even constrain it to lower colon 0 for um, I in source string, right? Does that make sense? For I in source string, for every character I get over here, it might be jujitsu, take the I, it's a string only, right? It doesn't matter. Rather, we would do multiple times, right? I can do string dot lower here itself, and that way it's just a single I, right? Okay, for every character I'm going to take put it with initially I have 0 for it in my string. Okay, that makes sense. And now distinct character count, this would be the length of my character count map, right? That makes sense. So right now I would have a dictionary which would have j0, right? j0 I0. Actually, instead of printing it, instead of typing it out, I can just print it, right? So let's say if name equal to main, main, what is this, substring, right? Smallest distinct substring, that's the name of the function, right? And we pass in jujitsu, jiu, I guess. Then I copy it and paste it, right? Jujitsu. So first let's just print character count, right? So what is the name of the function? The function is this, the character map is, right? So just so that we can get to know what is exactly this is. Save this, come back to our terminal, exit from here. Exe. What do we need? Python problem 1127, right? Yes, this would be our string. This makes complete sense. We just copy that and paste that over here, right? We have this, and the length of this would be the number of distinct character count, 1 0 1 2 3 4. That means 5 would be the distinct character count. This distinct character count represents the minimum size of the window. If we hit this, we are optimal and we can end from our iteration, like going through the characters. Okay, so now we have this. We also need a start, I guess. Start equal to 0, end equal to 0. And do we need any other variables? We might need one more, I guess. Do we need length of the string? We have, I think we are good, no? Am I missing anything? Let's see. We have a string, we have a character count. Okay, if needed, we can always get back to it. Okay, so what we do is then we can start iterating this. Okay, so for every character, right? Do we iterate over the characters or do we iterate over the indexes? I think index would be here better. So for index in range length of my source string, right? Source string. I need index because I'm going to create a window, this sliding window, so it will work on the indexes, right? So it starts at index over here, then it goes to the next index. So if I were to iterate over JUI, getting the indexes of it would be a bit, again I have to do a lookup. So rather I just start with the index and go over the len. So okay, now what would I have? I would now start iterating. I would get my first character. So my character over here would be source string of index, right? So let's say source string of index would be my character, right? So let's say that this would be the character that I am currently going over. First case it would be J because it's in my source string. Source string starts with J, right? So let's have that over here. Jiujitsu, copy that. So J, initially character would be J, right? I'm going to now go increment our counter what we have, saying that hey, increment it. Like we have come across a single character, so you can increment the value of in J inside our character dictionary over here to 1. Can minimize this for now. Okay, so we can do that by what is the name of the variable? Character count map of my character, what I currently have, right? Plus equal to 1, right? I'm incrementing it to 1. So how do I know that this is a distinct counter, right? Also we need to know whether our window, whatever we are going to have, right, whether the window currently now contains all of the character what we are required, right? Like how do I say that, like whether this window, initially our window was let's take another color, so let's take purple. So let's say J I U J I. So this was the initial window, right? How, and but this contains only 3 characters which are unique, I, J and U. So I need a count of how many such unique characters I have come across till now. So instead of keeping another map, rather what I'll do is I'll have a check if character count map of my character, right, character equal to 1, which means that it's occurred only once till now in my window. I'm going to say that distinct character, I think I have a number, right? This is distinct character count, is it? Okay, I will go with character count for now. Character count, character, okay, count plus equal to 1, right? So what is this character count? Ideally the variable name is wrong, but we'll come to that. So this character count represents the distinct character count in the window currently, right? So what are we using this distinct character count for? This would be like the overall, right? Overall distinct character count. Total distinct, okay, we'll call that as total for some time, because distinct character count would be a better variable name. Distinct character count, right? This is now making sense. So we are going to say that hey, if you if the current value of this character in my character count map, right, the map which we keep for maintaining the how many occurrences of the characters we have inside our current window, if that value is equal to 1, that means it is just the total number of distinct character count is 1 that I've come across so far. So next is once I have this, I would need to check the condition, right? Like if the window size is matching. So if my distinct character count. That means if the distinct character count is matching with my total, right? Like this total distinct character count, which means that the window size. So basically, for the first J, U, I, J, right? Like for, when it hits J, it will not match. Then it'll go to U, then it'll not match. Then it'll go to the next J, it will not match. And then it will go to the I. It will not match. For the first 5 characters, it will not match. Correct? Because this would not, when it comes to the third J, this value would not increment. So it will not. So then it will go to the, let's put an arrow over here. So it will, okay, right? When it's at this stage, when it's, yeah, so let's say when it's at this stage, it would be distinct character count. We'll see, we'll call it as DSC is DCC, sorry, distinct character count is equal to 3 only, because it would have hit J, I and U. When the next J occurs, it would have been incremented to 2, which was initially 0, which became 1, and then it become 2. So this if condition doesn't occur. So the distinct character count would be still 3 only. Then the next I would occur. That time also same logic, it won't get hit. But when it hits T is getting for the incremented the first time. So our window right now has expanded to, this is the current window. Like it starts from here and it's going up till here. Right now we have incremented our window from 5 to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 characters are there. T, right? We are taking T. How do we go about? Now distinct character count becomes 4 when T is included. When T is included, right? Okay. Next step is, it still is not matching our total distinct character count, because our requirement says that we just need to return a window where all the, what is the question? Where is in the question, right? Smallest window that contains every distinct character, right? So that is what we are trying to address right now. It should contain every distinct character. So here we have not yet hit the every distinct character. So it will go to the next index, I mean the next iteration, and pick up S also. So when it picks up S, when S is included, we are going to get distinct character count is equal to 5, right? Because S got included right now. Next, now it says that, hey, your distinct character count is 5, and the total distinct character count that we have overall, right, like for the entire string is also 5, which matches. That means now you have kind of like a window. You have, as presently you have a window which contains what is required. You could just, break and return from here, but it's not very optimal, because they asked for us to return a very the smallest of such occurrences, right? So for that, what we need to do is we need to now move this left hand side window right from here. So right now this is the window. It doesn't contain the U yet, right? Not yet though. What we can do is we can copy the window, current window, and then keep U's outside the window. It's not yet included. So we'll we shall depict the window within these 2 lines. So right now our intention is, we need to move this window a little bit closer. Ideally it should be over here, right? Because it contains U, I, J, T. Yeah, correct. U, J, I, T and S. So all the unique distinct characters are there. We need to make this window move from the left side here. How do we do that? So as of now, when we have this value, right, we'll print J would have occurred 2 times, like the value of J. I would have been also 2, U would have been 1, and T would have been 1, and S would be 1. This would be the count for the values inside our character count map. What we will do is we'll print it once again when this occurs, right? Just so that we are aware of where we are. Correct. This makes sense. So let's run the program once again. Right? Yes, J is 2, I is 2, U is 1, T is 1. Perfect. So this kind of makes good sense. So now what we are going to do is, in this case, let's comment it out. Okay, we need to decrement J, like move this character, move our sliding window, this window to one step over here. That is our intention. How do we do that? We already have a variable start, right, which keeps track of where our window starts from. So we'll say that, hey, if right, if our uh, character count right, what is the variable map? Yeah, if our current character count of the start variable is equal to, is greater than 1, that means it has occurred more than once, like j has occurred here 2 times. If it has occurred more than once, in that case, increment the start by 1, right, because you can move one more, one position ahead, like the window need not be from 0, it can be from 1 onwards. And also decrement the value of this, right, whatever is the character over here, decrement its value by -1 minus equal to 1, right. Because it's, once you move the window from here to here, the j count should also decrease, right. It occurs only 1 because the window occurs only from here to here. So yes, right. So that kind of, this kind of makes sense. But this will only move the character by 1. Does this satisfy? What would happen? How do we now move to u, right? We would need to go to the next character also. Start as incremented, we would need to go to the next position, because we need to check whether in the u, because even u has repeated, I has repeated 2 times, so we would need to also check for I and also decrement it. So what we will do is we'll have a while condition, while, because we don't know how many times this will occur, right. So while character count map at my starting is greater than 1, then do these things, correct. Wait, if it is greater than 1, I don't need to even check this if condition, because it entered the condition loop. Yeah, let's just add that and let's go over the logic once again. So initially we have j is 2, right, it's 2. It checks character count start is also initially 0, so it checks, hey, map at position 0 character count map, right, character count map. Oh, it's not 0 as in, what do you say? It's not the character, right? It should be the char. Sorry. Yeah. Does that kind of make sense now? Nope. This would not still make it feasible, because how are we pointing to the 0th position string, right? In list. Okay, what we can do is we can access it again. Source string of start, right. This makes sense. Basically what we need over here is when the character map value of the starting position, initially when start is equal to 0, source string of 0 is nothing but j, you're going to check that, hey character, what is the value of j. If the value of j is greater than 1, like here in our case it's 2, move the window by 1 step. So we will copy this, right, copy this, paste it back. We are going to move the window by 1 step and say that start is equal to 1, right. Start gets incremented to 1, and we are going to decrement the value character count map of this, right, that becomes j. You're going to say decrement it by 1, and the value of j will be now 1. Okay, in the next condition of the while loop, while character count map of source string of start now is at pointing to 1, so this is inside the while loop, right. So we'll have it here, while loop. So this would happen here. So next, for the next iteration of the while loop, we would have start. We'll check what is the source string of 1. 1 is j I, right. I would be the next character in our string. We are checking whether I has occurred 2 times. Yes, I has occurred 2 times. So we are going to enter this condition. Start gets incremented to 2 over here. Perfect. Start gets incremented to 2, and I gets decremented by 1, and we move the moving window to here, correct. So we have now u j I T and S, right? Okay, and start gets incremented to 2. In the third time, when the third time the while loop gets called, it checks whether my source string of start right now is 2, right? Just 2. 2 in the second position, 0 1 2. U, it checks how many times u occurred. U has occurred only once, so it doesn't enter this while loop itself, so we can come outside of it. This indicates that our we are not at any repeating character in our window, right? So our window now contains all distinct characters, and um, we are not yet sure whether this is the smallest though, but it doesn't, but it is one solution. This is probable solution. Okay, once we have this, now we need to go with the logic of finding out whether this is the smallest window or not, right? So first what we need is, if the window length, whatever currently window length we have, how do we keep track of that window? Yes, that's why we have j. No, j keeps track of currently where we are in the loop. Index, so index, so if index okay, if index, no, that will tell us what position we are over here. So let's say that window length, we'll call it as window length, length is equal to my index minus start, right? This kind of makes sense. No, index is at the point when we have hit only s, right? So this would be 0 1 2 3 4 5 6. So we are at 6 minus start. Start was 0 and 1 and 2. Right now it went to 2 and it broke. Like, we are not going ahead with the while loop after that. So 2 only. We are still at 2. So we have index minus 2 is what? 6 minus 2, which is equal to 4. Okay, and since we are but our window length is currently 5, right? Because we have 5 characters over here, 1 2 3 4 5. So what is the problem over here? Okay, we are starting the index from 0, so we will increment it with 1 now, right? Window length is right now index minus start plus 1, which indicates our window length. This window length, actually we could just sum up all the characters inside the dictionary also to get the window length, just but that would be an extra iteration. So to save that, we're going with this. Now we are going to check if my window length, right, is less than, what is a, if my window length is less than whatever is the current, assume that this was not in the beginning, like if it's not the smallest that we have come across till now. For that reason we have a window length. If the window length is less than, we need like a tracker, right, to keep track of what is the minimum window length which we have come across till now. So we'll keep one more variable over here, minimum window length, length is equal to minimum window length would be equal to the total character distinct count, right? Like if there are 5 distinct characters, our best case scenario would always be 5, but for getting started with, we'll say that it's 6. Okay, and if we hit a value of 6, we are still hitting the answer. The reason why we went with 6 is because we are checking if it's less than, so 5 is less than 6 in this case, so that's why it would return, right? If the window length is less than the minimum window length, we are going to say that minimum window length is equal to my window length as of now. And do I need anything else? I think this should be suffice. That means that I don't need to increment or decrement the ending, right? So okay, and why would we need to go till the end of the string? Can we break and return from here? No, see, we can't break because in this scenario it makes sense, we can just leave here and return the result, but we need, no, we can break and return if the, yes, we can actually even break and return if window length equal to total distinct character count, right? If you have hit all the distinct character counts, you can even break, because this indicates that even if we go ahead and get a better window with the same size and everything, that doesn't make sense, because we are only interested in returning the window length. So we can just return the window length, because this variable we're keeping track over here. Okay, we need, where is our window length over here? Oh, sorry, we should not return that. We'll return substring. Okay, so now, so what would be the substring? This would happen in the for loop. What would be our substring? Our substring would be a source string which starts from, like, we need a starting position, right? So it starts from start based on wherever the start value is, incremented. So start, it goes from start and it goes up to what point? Start plus that would be the window length, if I'm not wrong. Correct, no? Actually, minimum window length, basically. Yeah, in the last iteration, both would be same, like if they were equal. No, it should be minimum window length. We'll try with that. So because in the worst case scenario, it will be 0, 0 plus 6. It will go up till the 6th element. Correct, right? Okay, let's print it out and check whether our logic holds good. Right. So jiujitsu, right? jiujitsu. Okay, let's remove the remaining prints for now. Okay, we are getting an extra I in the beginning, which means that we are not terminating when we should, right? What is the length? Minimum length equal to, I think, minimum. What is the value of this minimum? We'll check that also. Print smallest distinct substring, the minimum window length is okay. We are going to print the minimum window length, right? And then we can even print that over here. Print minimum length is perfect. Okay, so now let's clear it up, run the program. Okay, minimum window length is 6. It should not be 6 ideally, right? It should be 7, because I mean, sorry, it should be 5, no? Why are we not decrementing it? Does that mean that our while loop did not continue? It did not continue. Why would it not? Are we missing anything? Let's go through the logic once again. It is expected that when we hit the total distinct character count equal to the total character count, we move the while loop. I mean, we iterate once. We say character count map source string of start was initially 0, right? It starts at the point 0. It starts at 0, it gets incremented to 1, then we decrement the j's value, right? J's value gets decremented from 2 to 1. It was initially 2, then it become 1. So the source window has moved and we have come to iujits. Okay, that is making sense. Then the next iteration of the while loop, while it goes again, character count map source string of start now's value is nothing but 1. So I check what is the value of I is the second value, right? In Jui, isn't it I? It is I. Yeah, okay, it is I. So it checks the value of I. It says, hey, yeah, I is also greater than 1. Yes, this condition is valid. So it increment start now to 2, right? Start should be 2. character count map now becomes decrements the value of I by 1. So I becomes 1, and we move the sliding window to the only 5 character UJITS. UJITS should come, but then extra I is coming in the beginning, so which means that our window length is missing something. Okay, so step 1 is, what are we missing here? Am I missing anything? Character index, we are incrementing it by 1 when we come across it. Then we are increasing the distinct character count as and when it is exactly equal to 1 inside our window. Distinct character count is equal to total distinct character count. Yes, this is the 5 equal to 5 scenario, which means we have come across all the distinct characters. Then we would be our character map. This should get incremented. Then we are going to do the window length. Window length index would be 6 minus 2, 4 plus 1, that is 5. So window length should be 5. If 5 is less than minimum window length, right, minimum window length initially was total distinct character count plus 1, so it was 5 plus 1, 6. If it is less than 6, right, in this case it is less than 6, so then we are saying minimum window length is equal to window length. Then we are going to say that, hey, if my minimum window length is equal to total character distinct count, you can break. That means you don't need to continue to the next character in my source string. Correct? No, am I missing anything? Okay, so if our logic that start is, I'm assuming start did not move, no, because start is supposed to from start this should have been 2, that way we would have not got I. So I think start is not getting incremented. Why is that not happening? Let's print it out, right? Let's print it out in every iteration of our while loop. That way we would be able to trace what we are missing. So we have this, we are going to print it now. So the character, okay, it's only called once, right? Oh, we are incrementing it here. Oh, my bad, it should be post increment, because in this case start gets incremented to 1, right? Then we decrement the value of I instead of j. Okay, it should have been a post increment. That way now 2 times we should see this for loop, while loop occur, right? Yep, UJITS. This makes sense. This should be a post increment, not a pre increment, because we are accessing that index over here. Correct? Yeah, that kind of makes sense. My bad. So now we can comment this, comment it out rather, comment out minimum length. I think this should do, no? So we have been given this program, we should return minimum length. We are returning 5, even though it's not going till the ending. We could increment the window and go to the next character also, but since the question says we should return the smallest window which contains every possible, this one should be working fine. Okay, yes, thank you.